私サスケくんのためなら何だってする。だからお願いだからここにいて。だからここに私と一緒に。
やっぱりお前うざいよ。
You don't love me.
Yeah, I feel like
You don't love me.
I was Josh Safdie's muse when he wrote Uncahjah.
Naruto is an action-packed anime filled with iconic characters and epic fight scenes. It's also got treacherous and dastardly villains. I mean, it is filled with some really f***ed up people, okay? You got some murderers, you've got people who destroy entire villages. But one of the most hated characters is Sakura Haruno? Oh, how did that happen? Let's take a look and see how we got here, okay? In the beginning of the show, she's placed in a team with Sasuke and Naruto, two characters who absolutely overpower her when it comes to ninjutsu. When they start going on missions, Sakura struggles to find her feet within the team. During battles, Sakura typically stays out of the fight, and the few times she's in a fight, she's often a liability to her team. It sometimes feels like the writer forgets that Sakura is even in the scene, so at random points they'll just be like, oh yeah, Sakura's here, quick, do something. It's clear that the writer Kishimoto intended for Sakura to be some kind of love interest for Naruto and Sasuke. But writing-wise, this is a pretty bad composition of a team. Sakura is sort of written into a corner since Naruto and Sasuke are so strong, she often isn't needed. Naruto and Sasuke kind of run around circle jerking each other, and Sakura is just sort of awkwardly there. When you take a look at the other teams, they sort of balance each other out. If Sakura was placed in any other team, she most likely would have gelled better. She would have been forced to take a more active role, unlike in Team 7 where she rarely got a chance to shine. They tell us that Sakura has a natural affinity for genjutsu and chakra control, but they never build on this, and Sakura remains pretty basic for most of the series. But things start to change in the Chunin exams. At one point in the exams, Naruto and Sasuke are injured, and Sakura is the only person who can protect them. She's not as strong as her team members, but one way of losing power is assuming you have no power. Sakura is outnumbered and she knows she's not strong enough to fight them all by herself. Instead of ninjutsu, she uses her intelligence to outsmart them. It's a powerful scene. Even though Sakura ultimately loses the fight, we respect her for trying. She gives it everything she has, just like Naruto would have. After this moment, something has changed in Sakura. Sakura gallantly declares that she is no longer standing behind Naruto and Sasuke, and instead beside them. In another part of the exams, she ends up fighting her childhood rival, Ino Yamanaka, and she whoops her ass.
Don't be rude. Are you kidding me? I swear to God, stop. Don't be. What are you doing? Throw the thing on me. I'll hurt you. Don't do that. Stop. Oh my God.
This is the Sakura we've been waiting patiently for. Right? But sadly, my hope for Sakura and the character I hoped she would be died slowly week after week. Shortly after the Chunin exams, Sasuke defects from Konoha, which leaves Sakura inconsolable. she doesn't choose to help Naruto get Sasuke back. Instead, she cries like an absolute pansy.
I didn't cry as much as Kit though.
No, Kit was
What a
sobbing.
pansy.
No, boys can cry.
And makes him promise that he would bring Sasuke back. Now, this is emotionally a really f***ed up thing to do, especially since she's not helping. But this arc was a crucial turning point for Sakura. If fans didn't hate her before, they hated her now. And honestly, I don't blame fans for hating Sakura. But I don't blame Sakura either.
Uncahjah Sasuke この葉隠れの里の名門Uncahjah一族の末裔でありナルトが激しい対抗意識を抱いている少年春の桜はナルトが恋心を抱いているくのいちだ
It occurs to me that despite Naruto and Sasuke having extensive backstories, we know next to nothing about Sakura. Sasuke's entire clan and family are murdered, so he's really emotionally f***ed up. Naruto has no parents and everyone in the village hates him because he has a demon sealed inside him. Sakura has she has a massive forehead. So yeah, that's why she is the way she is. Let's take a look at Forehead Gate. So the little backstory we do get of Sakura is she's insecure about how big her forehead is. Ino helps her to embrace her curvaceous forehead and they become friends. However, there's a rift in their friendship when they both find out they like Sasuke. Mind you, at this point it's not clear that Sasuke even knows that they exist, but nonetheless they end their friendship and enter a rivalry for Sasuke's affections.
You're nothing but a prostitute. How dare you call me a prostitute? But you are! You better say sorry.
So, from the way this is written, we're meant to take Sakura's backstory as seriously as Naruto and Sasuke's.
長い髪の女の子が好きらしいのね。長い髪の女の子が好きらしいのね。
Please, I don't wanna die!
Like, her forehead and childhood crush really shaped her worldview. It's almost as if Kishimoto thought, I want to create a female character that girls can relate to. So how do I do this? Well, all girls are insecure about their looks, and all girls like boys, obviously. Wait, what the f***? Yep, that happened. Sakura is the character female readers were supposed to attach themselves to. Insecure and boy crazy is how Kishimoto sees his female readers.
Next.
But that obviously backfired when female readers said Sakura was their least favourite character. After seeing the backstory of Team 7, we understand why Sasuke is emotionally detached. We get why Naruto needs everyone to like him. But we don't understand why Sakura loves Sasuke. If we just had a reason, that would really help us to connect to Sakura. Maybe there was an ancient curse put on her family that forced them to be subservient to Uchiha's. Maybe an oracle told her her destiny was to fall in love with the Hokage, and she thinks that must be Sasuke. Maybe Sakura was starving in the back streets of Konoha and Sasuke spared her a loaf of bread. In a flashback of Hinata, we are shown why she fell in love with Naruto. She didn't like him for his looks, she liked him for who he was, which explains why she liked him for the entirety of the series. And because of this, we understand why Hinata loves Naruto. Imagine if we saw a scene like this between Sasuke and Sakura, where he was kind to her and he helped her out when no one else would. That would explain why Sakura believes Sasuke is good, instead of just shallow reasons and just wanting to f*** him. Since we don't understand her, we recoil from her. It's not a good enough reason to sustain for so long. If she only likes Sasuke because she wants to bone him, then it's kinda hard for the audience to connect with that. So now we arrive at part 2, Naruto Shippuden, and all the characters have aged a few years.
Sakura-chanもChunin? そうよ。
And whoa, lo and behold, Sakura is strong AF. She's been trained by the Hokage Tsunade, and she is now a skilled medical ninja. So basically there's like a COVID outbreak in the Sand Village, and Homegirl is the first to develop a vaccine. I'm not used to this. I'm used to Sakura standing in the corner screaming for Sasuke, Naruto, and drooling over Sasuke, but now she's actually an active member of the team and she's really useful.
Sakura-chan, かっこいいってばよ。
In one of the most entertaining fights in all of Naruto, in my opinion, Sakura takes center stage against Akatsuki elite Sasori. Once again, just like in the Chunin exams, she's separated from her teammates. But this time, Sakura doesn't lack any confidence in her abilities. I feel like I've waited so long to see this version of Sakura. She doesn't win by brute force. She wins by constantly adapting and outsmarting her opponent. There's actually a moment where Sasori directly addresses the gender of his opponent. I saw this as sort of like a meta moment of the writer, acknowledging the criticism that his female characters have received and making steps to improve this. Sakura 2.0 is a badass. She's strong, she's smart, and honestly, I just want to be her when I grow up. I love where part 2 has started and I'm excited for where she's going. She's shaping up to be one of the most powerful ninjas in the whole series. But sadly, this is where Sakura peaks. Sakura's arc gets pretty messy from this point on. Despite her growth in ninjutsu, we see that she's had no emotional growth when it comes to Sasuke.
That was
Close. Oh my. Me likey. Take me.
Sasuke-kun. 私は Sasuke-kun をいつ好きになったんだろう。
And once again, since we don't know why Sakura is obsessed with Sasuke, it's really hard for the audience to have empathy with her.
やっぱりお前うざいよ。
And at this point, I would just like to kindly remind you of my previous suggestions on backstory that would have made sense for Sakura. I mean, she had potential to be one of the most complex characters in any anime series. And at this point, you start to realize there's quite a lot of character inconsistencies with Sakura. They make a big point that as a medical ninja, Sakura is excellent at dodging.
医療忍者は絶対に敵の攻撃を食らってはならない。
Despite showing us this, she constantly gets smacked around and has to get rescued by her teammates.
Naruto, 離せ! Naruto!
Tsunade-sama would have a lot to say about that. After battling Sasuke for the first time in Shippuden, Sakura rallies the troops and is like, okay guys, we gotta get stronger if we want to beat Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke, they have a full-on glow-up when it comes to new jutsus, but Sakura remains a carbon copy of Tsunade, and let's face it, Tsunade's skill set wasn't the most creative either. With her knowledge of poison, combined with her strength, her medical ninjutsu, her natural affinity for genjutsu, Sakura could have really carved out her own unique fighting style. They started off so well, like I was frothing at the mouth, just gagging for more Sakura, but week after week they just sort of let me down. But I still tuned in every week, hoping that Sakura would be the character she had the potential to be. So one of the really sloppy Sakura arcs was when they all tried to track down Sasuke. Well, I mean, that's like the whole Naruto story, isn't it? But so listen to this. Sakura fully decides to poison her friends. So that she can sneak off and kill Sasuke herself. Then at the last second, she bottles it. because apparently she's in love with him. But I'm like, no, sorry, if you can poison your friends, you can kill your first crush, okay? I maybe could sympathize with Sakura if there was some kind of substantial relationship between her and Sasuke. But, you know, in case you haven't been listening, there's not.
やっぱりお前うざいよ。
そしてさくら、あの時とサスケに対する思いは違うだろう。同じ好きでもその思いは別のものだ。命を狙われた相手を未だに思う。
は？
闇から救うのは自分の役目だと思っている。
What?
お前はそういう優しい子だ。
Oh. Okay.
But don't worry guys, Kishimoto saved the best for last. There's one moment in the final battle where Sakura is like, okay, this is my moment, I'm as powerful as Naruto and Sasuke, this is the culmination of my story, like, watch me go kids.
3人の綱手様だけ弟子の鍛え方が下手なわけないでしょ。だからもう引かない。私が陽動。続いて。
First blood.
And then she's instantly KO'd. And then to add further salt in the wounds, she is rescued by Naruto and Sasuke, which is like the opposite of everything she's ever wanted. I was like, come on Kishi, like, could you not have given her a tiny moment? Did you have to burst her bubble like that? But I had to laugh, because the other option would have been... But to me, the most devastating moment in all of Naruto is Sakura's final scene. Sasuke decides to leave Konoha to atone for his far-right extremism, and apparently everyone's like, yeah, sure, that's a good punishment. I mean, I want to go to Konoha and just rob a bank. And as Team 7 say goodbye to Sasuke, Sakura begs Sasuke to take her with him.
お前は俺の罪とは関係ない。
And she's rejected. Again. Sakura has had no emotional growth from the very first episode. We are left in the exact same place we started. Her happiness is completely dependent on Sasuke. In the epilogue, we find out that Sakura ends up with Sasuke, a person who at the best of times tolerated her, and at the worst of times tried to kill her. A woman's unrequited love seems to be a bit of a trend in Naruto. Hinata professes her love for Naruto and almost dies trying to save him, but the two never speak of this moment again. It's almost as if the writer thinks this won't be interesting to a male audience. Romance is what girls talk about, not mask for mask men. Now, let's imagine that final scene playing out differently. Sakura tells Sasuke, hey bro, I hope you find what you're looking for. That's it. That line would have summed up Sakura's arc so neatly. She no longer needs his approval because the only approval she seeks is her own. She's blossomed from an immature girl to a multifaceted young woman. She's no longer driven by childhood romances. She's matured and developed multiple aspirations and interests that she derives her happiness from. Now, if we piece together all the things that we talked about in this video, where would that leave us? We would get Sakura with a compelling backstory, a unique fighting style, and consistent writing. Sakura was robbed of having a great legacy. From what I've seen of the new series Boruto, they try to expand Sakura's role. Oh well, maybe not. But it's the thought that counts. Sakura isn't from a powerful family, she doesn't have a secret jutsu. In the Naruto world, she's entirely ordinary. Sakura isn't great at anything, but she's good at everything. And I think this could have actually been the biggest twist in the series. And it would have made perfect sense. Out of the group, who are the contenders? There's obviously Naruto, who has the skill to be the Hokage, but not quite the tact. There's Shikamaru, but I think he's a closeted sub and doesn't like being the main guy. And so I guess that leaves us with Choji.
I'm not fat, I'm just big boned!
I'm just kidding. And then there's Sakura, who actually has the best resume to be the Hokage. I mean, she literally is the Hokage's apprentice. She's got good diplomatic skills, she's cool under pressure, and she's got the ideal jutsus to protect the village. In an alternate universe, Sakura could have been a great Hokage. So I guess the cautionary tale of Sakura is, instead of creating characters to pander to a subset of your audience, write characters that at least interest you. People may or may not like them, but at least it's authentic. And if you don't like female characters, then just don't put them in your story. I mean, look at Lord of the Rings. No female characters, everyone loved it. It's strange that Kishimoto could create this incredible world, but he couldn't create a decent female character if his life depended on it. And it's not you who sucked, Sakura, it was your creator.